In this video, we're going to talk about another threshold for obtaining a United States patent, and that is the standard for written description. Now, we have a written description requirement because one of the trades we ask an inventor to make is that in order to get the powerful patent monopoly rights we give you with the United States patent, you have to teach the world how to use your invention. You're basically giving up most of the secrets related to your general invention in exchange for this limited but powerful patent monopoly. The written description requirement requires two main things that you have to satisfy in order to have a valid patent. One is that your written description, which includes all aspects of your patent, the drawings, the written description of those drawings, and the claims, has to teach those in your field that you actually have the invention, that you've actually come up with what you're trying to cover in your claims. So you have to include enough detail and precision in your drawings and description to show people experienced in your field that you actually have come up with this invention and you know what you're talking about. The other aspect of written description is called enablement, and that is, in the written description of your patent, you have to teach those in your field how to actually use your invention without undue experimentation. You don't have to include a teaching of every step of using your invention. For example, for most software-enabled inventions, you don't have to include the code that would be used to program a general-purpose computer to actually carry out your claimed function or system. But you have to generally describe the invention in enough detail so that those in the field would understand how to go home and build this without what's called undue experimentation. Now, one way the law of written description can impact entrepreneurs is in filing a provisional patent application. Because when filing this provisional patent application, which doesn't have to have claims, you have to satisfy the law of written description for the claims you're eventually going to file down the road. This can be challenging because you don't know what those claims are going to look like at the time you're drafting this provisional patent application or at the time you're working with a patent attorney to prepare this provisional patent application. Let's take the example of one of the early joystick controllers for video games. Let's say you're the first person to come up with one of the early Atari joysticks where you have a handle and a base for the controller. Now, if you describe just this embodiment of your invention in your provisional patent application, it may be difficult down the road to have claims that cover some of the future joystick embodiments that were used, such as the dial wheel that was used to control something on the screen, or a controller with just buttons, the little cross-shaped Nintendo buttons that could be used to control an object on the screen. If you wanted to include other ways of practicing a joystick, you'd want to include in this written description of your provisional patent application other embodiments. You'd say you could have an actuator that could be a joystick handle, it could be a dial, it could be buttons on a controller. There are a number of ways to control an object on the screen. In providing this broad disclosure, you're making it more likely that you're going to satisfy the written description requirements for broader claims down the road that cover competitors that are trying to design around or compete with your original product idea. And this is a general overview of the law of written description.